Hello, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Joe Torrey. I'm a real wealth investment counselor here at in the Bay Area, and I'll be hosting today's webinar, which is on Jacksonville, Florida, and some other areas in Florida where our affiliate is building brand new fourplexes and duplexes. So first, a few housekeeping items, and then we'll get started. Today's webinar is going to talk about the market and about Real Wealth Network for people who are new to the network, just a background. And then on this Thursday, we're going to have more detail about the actual properties, maybe 6 or 8 properties that are available right now, the income property showcase. So today's purpose for today is to decide if you're interested in Jacksonville or any of the multifamilies that he has available. And if you are, based on what you heard today, you can attend the Thursday webinar. But you have to have a strategy session first before you can attend the Thursday one. And then next week, we'll be doing the same thing. On Tuesday, the featured market will be Detroit, Michigan. And then on Thursday, we'll have actual properties from the Detroit market that are available. We also have some live events coming up for those on the West Coast. Saturday, July 13th, we'll be meeting in San Mateo, and we'll have about 4 or 5 markets presenting. And then the following day, Sunday, July 14th in Los Angeles near the airport, we'll have the same affiliates speaking, so you can people in Southern California can meet the affiliates and see the properties they have available. And also we have once every 6 months we do a property showcase on the East Coast. And the next one will be August 10th in Cleveland, Ohio. And we're going to have all of our affiliates presenting in one day, like 12 or 14, like half hour at a time. It's like speed dating for real estate. So each one will come up and talk about what's going on in their market, show you some sample properties, why it's a good area to invest, and then you can ask some questions, and then the next one will come up and present. So in one day, you can see all the affiliates in the Real Wealth Network. A little bit about me. I'm an investment counselor here in the Bay Area. I'm based in San Jose. I've been investing in real estate myself since about 2004. Well, it's 15 years now. I was working in high tech and investing in real estate on the side and decided I like real estate better, so I moved out, and I've been doing real estate ever since, the last couple of years, full time. All right, let's start with a backgrounder on Real Wealth Network and what we do. It says here, real estate investing simplified, and that's basically, in a nutshell, what Real Wealth Network is about. The idea of buying a property 2,000 miles away in a market you don't know, in a city you're not familiar with, is kind of scary. So what we do is do all the heavy lifting. We research the best markets, we find the best partners in each market, the best property management companies, the best turnkey providers, rehabbers, lenders. We build the ecosystem, and we can, after our thorough vetting process, you can be confident that when we have an affiliate that would sign on to our network, that you can do business with them. And as part of our network, you're protected, because if you have any issues down the road, you bring us in, let us know, and we'll work with the affiliate to get it straightened out, or the property management company. So you're not alone. Even if you only own one property, you still have a lot of clout with these providers, because they want to keep our members happy, because we send them a lot of business. So being part of a network helps when you're investing remotely rather than trying to do it on your own. And as the slogan there says, we help you create passive income so you can live life on your own terms. So we want you to get to a point where you can live your want-to life, not your have-to life. And you can see Rich and Kathy, the founders, living their want-to life right there on the beach in Malibu, where they live. Okay, why Real Wealth Network? Well, first of all, we have a lot of free educational resources on our site. There's webinars like the one we're having today. It's going to be recorded and posted. There's information about taxes, about 1031 exchanges, different strategies. So it's all free. So as part of our network, you can educate yourself and at your own pace. And when you're ready to invest, you can connect with one of our investment counselors, and we can get you started, walk you through the process. And we have other resources that are available to you after you've had a strategy session, like our live events, and that can help you also with your investing. So some FAQs we like to get out of the way. We don't do flips. So if you're interested in buying a house and flipping it, we don't do that. We invest for the long term, for cash flow. Our properties are our affiliates offer have been fully renovated to our standard, and the intent is to buy them and hold them, and you pay them off over time, or eventually down the road, maybe sell them 5-7 years from now and buy more, but we don't do quick turnarounds. Secondly, if you want to buy property all cash, you'll need at least $60,000, and that is for our less pricier markets like Detroit. In most markets, properties cost more. I would say the average throughout our network is about $100,000 for a house, but at the very least, you would need $60K if you wanted to buy all cash. And finally, if you want to use IRA money to invest in property, you'll have to have at least $50K in your IRA. That will cover your down payment and also leave some money left over in case there's any down the road maintenance that needs to happen. You can't mix your money with the IRA's money. It's called commingling. So your IRA has to have enough money to handle any unforeseen expenses. Okay, most of our investors use loans, conventional financing, and for that you need a credit score of at least 680, a 2-year track record of a job history at a U.S. company, 20% down payment. If you can do 25%, you can get lower interest rate, but 20 as a minimum. You should have 6 months reserves and a low debt to income ratio. So the bank is going to look at how much debt you have total, car payments, credit cards, and so forth, and compare that to your income. And the more debt you have, the more risky you are, because the more likely you are to default on the loan. So they want to see a low debt to income ratio. And finally, you can only get 10 conventional loans, so you can't have more than 10 finance properties on your current credit report. If you meet these criteria, then you can get conventional financing. All right, this is our disclaimer. Real estate purchasers are subject to investment risks, including the possible loss of amounts invested. And while the network uses its best efforts to screen and understand the operations of each of its affiliates and related companies like property management, we cannot and do not guarantee the performance of investments offered through these companies. We don't own these companies. They don't work for us. They just sign on to our network. So you have to do your own due diligence and analysis before purchasing a property through the network. And anytime you do purchase a property, you should order an inspection from a licensed home inspector and an appraisal. Now, if you're getting a loan from a bank, the bank will require an inspection and an appraisal. But even if you're buying all cash, you should have one done anyway to make sure you're not overpaying for the property. One final housekeeping note. If you look on the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you should see a orange rectangle with an arrow. If you click there, a dialog box will open up, and you'll have a place there where you can type in questions. Our affiliate will not be on the call today. This is a pre-webinar for the Thursday webinar, but I'll try to answer as many as I can, especially if they're about Real Wealth Network. Okay, here's a map of the U.S. showing the markets that we're in, and as you can see, we're in about half the markets we're in are in the Midwest, like Chicago, Indianapolis, Ohio, Detroit, and the other half are in the Sun Belt, like Florida, Texas, Alabama, and New Mexico. Today we're going to be talking about Jacksonville, Florida, which is the point where the blue star is. It's in the upper east coast of Florida, close to the Georgia border. Okay, why Jacksonville? Why is this a good place to invest? So the 5 market drivers, economic growth, population growth, affordability, desirability, and supply and demand for housing. And we'll go through each of those. As far as economics, Jacksonville has a very diverse economy, as you can see here from all the companies that are there. One of the major industries there is transportation and distribution. So you may be familiar with these large container ships that come from China, and they come through the Panama Canal and come up the east coast of the United States. Jacksonville is the first port that's big enough to hold those giant ships. And so a lot of them pull in there. You can see CSX, the major railroad company, is headquartered in Jacksonville. I-95 goes up and down the East Coast, so truckers can take the cargo there. And I-10 starts in Jacksonville and goes west to Los Angeles, so truckers can go in that direction as well. So transportation and distribution is a major industry there. You can see Southeastern Grocers, UPS, and then, of course, you have financial services, AT&T, a lot of medical, Blue Shield, Baptist Health, Florida Health. So it's a very diverse, stable economy. Population has been growing all over Florida, but you can see just in the past 8 years, there's been an 8% increase in population. Florida, for the first time in 2016, passed New York as the 3rd most populous state in the United States after California and Texas. And we see that trend continuing. Not only are 10,000 baby boomers retiring every day, and Florida is the #1 retirement destination, but also a lot of businesses are moving there because it's very pro-business friendly. There's no state income tax, no corporate state income tax. So it's a business friendly environment. Looking at medium home values in this market, you can see where it says RWN neighborhoods with this orange line at the bottom. That's well below the national average. So you can buy properties that are much less expensive than you can in other parts of the country. The trend for the prices is going up, as you would expect, with population growing, but it's still well below the national average. And the same thing with rents. Rents are steadily increasing as well. All right, some comments about Jacksonville. Trulia says it's the #1 U.S. market to watch. Yahoo says it's the #1 coastal market to watch. It's right on the east coast of Florida. Anytime you can get coastal property that cash flows, that's a good thing. #2 in the nation for developing an economic culture. It's favorable for small businesses, which is where a lot of job growth comes from. Forbes said it was the #2 city with the most vibrant employment scene, and also that it was ranked #3 best city in the U.S. for jobs. So the economy there is very healthy and diverse. All right, so here's an example of a multifamily. This is a brand new construction, 8-bed, 8-bath, and that's 4 units. So it's each unit is 2 bedrooms, 2 bath. The total cost is $485,000. So with 25% down, since this is a multifamily, you would put 25% down instead of 20. So that would be $121K. There'd be some closing costs. So your total all-in cost would be $131,000. Then your mortgage with principal and interest is $2,000. Taxes, insurance, property management is all listed there. So your total expenses will be $3,400 a month. The rents would be $4,100 a month, so you'll be positive $689 a month, or $8,000 a year. So if you take the $8,000 a year and divide it by the 131 all-in cost, you're getting about a 6% cash-on-cash return with financing. And then if you bought it all cash, you would be in for about $500,000, and you would get $33,000 a year in positive cash flow. I guess that's about an 8% cap rate. So these are examples of the new builds that they're doing in Jacksonville, and you'll see more specific examples of these, as well as duplexes on Thursday. And then finally, there are some properties, regular single-family homes, as mostly what we do in the network. So here's an example of a property, 4-bedroom, 2-bath in Jacksonville for $130K. With down payment and closing costs, you're into it for $28,000. Rent is $1,100 a month, so you're getting almost 1% of the purchase price and rent. And after all expenses, you're clear about $200 a month or $2,300 a year. And if you bought it all cash, you would get about $9,000 a year on an investment of $131. And here's another single-family home, a smaller one, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, $75,000. Very affordable entry point, especially for first-time investors. $16,500 basically gets you into this property with your down payment and your closing costs. So it's a good entry point. The rent is $783 a month, which is even better than 1%. For those of you who are new, there's a rule of thumb in investing called the 1% rule. If you can get 1% of the purchase price in monthly rent, then the property will cash flow. And you can see here, so for a $75,000 house, you would want $750 a month in rent. This one has $783. So it does a little better than the 1% rule. And you'd get $267 a month or $3,200 a year in cash flow. And if you bought it all cash, you would have to come up with $75,000, and you would get $7,000 a month in cash flow after all expenses. Obviously, you wouldn't have a mortgage payment, so your cash flow would be higher in the all cash scenario. And that's about almost a 10% cap rate. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the properties available. On the Thursday webinar, these are going to be focusing on multifamilies, duplexes and fourplexes, and not just in Jacksonville, but also in Ocala, which is about 80 miles southwest of Jacksonville, in the center of the state. For those of you who are concerned about hurricanes, this is in the center of the state, so you don't have any hurricane issues. And also in Palm Coast, which is about 30 miles south of Jacksonville, but still in the same general area. So with that, let's see if we have any questions. One question came in. It's about how long does it take to get a property? The way it works, our affiliate can describe it in more detail on Thursday, but basically you put a deposit down, earnest money deposit of $5K, something like that, and then they'll start building it, and then 6 to 7 months down the road, you should have the property completed, and then they'll put property management in place and tenants in place. In the meantime, the property could very well be appreciating, but you're locked in at the current price. Let's see if there are any other questions. Doesn't look like there are, so we'll just move on. Most of your questions should be for Thursday anyway. If you're interested in investing in Jacksonville and want to attend Thursday's webinar, you'll get an email after this webinar, so just click on the link to schedule a time to connect with either me or one of the other investment counselors to have a strategy session. If you're not interested in Jacksonville at this time, but you still like to know about other markets in the Real Wealth Network, you can also schedule a strategy session, and then we can find a market that's more appropriate for you. Okay, so, oh wait, here's a question. Do you provide property management? Absolutely. We have property management in all of our markets. Property management is the #1 reason investors fail, so we have to have stellar property management in each of our markets. Otherwise, we can't be there. So our affiliate in Jacksonville has been with us for a long time, I guess 6-7 years, and they have a very thorough property management that's been vetted. Do the new fourplexes come with tenants? Yes, they do. We'll have that put in place. We have before the property is even completed, they'll start marketing it and find tenants. All right, that's it for questions. Okay, well, that's about it for today. It's a short one. If you're interested, reach out to me or one of the other investment counselors to set up a call, and you'll get an email invite, and you can attend the Thursday webinar, and they'll talk more about show you 6 or 7 properties that are available in various parts of Florida. So thanks for attending. That concludes today's webinar. I hope you got something out of it, and hope to see you on Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your day.